So we're seeing Russell Wilson talk his way out of Seattle. We're seeing Deshaun Watson attempt to talk his way out of Houston. This is what the basketball players, this is what the top paid basketball players do when they don't want to be somewhere. Anthony Davis, James Harden. It's how the NBA works. It's not how the NFL worked in the past. So my question is, why is this happening in the NFL? Why are quarterbacks now becoming the power brokers of the league, determining where they go? And is this an inevitable trend that the Niners are going to have to join, or is this something they can avoid? And if you don't have any thoughts off the top of your head, I can start because I've been thinking about this, but you guys are welcome to go.
I'll go with it. I think
you
follow the money.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. They're making the most money out of all the players. And so they're the ones that have, and that's where the power comes from. Just like in society, the people that make the most money, they're the ones that wield the most power. I think we're seeing the same thing in the NFL. We see it in the NBA. All the guys that are doing that are all the top paid guys. And I think it's the same thing here. As far as the 49ers having that issue, I mean, shoot, if you really think about it, I think the 49ers would love to have Jimmy Garoppolo want to get out. But, outside of that.
Yeah, good point.
I don't think the 49ers really are going to be dealing with that, for a few more years. Maybe they will in 5 years when they have a quarterback that's ready that's making big bucks and, thinks that he deserves to go somewhere else.
When you have a quarterback or at least a player that is that much of a difference between you being in NBA terms, a lottery team or a playoff team, I think that does give them more control, as in Deshaun Watson, as in Russell Wilson. If Wilson went away from Seattle and they didn't immediately replace him with Deshaun Watson, do we still think they'd be perennial title contenders? I don't know. But I like the players having the power over the owners. So I'm happy. I'm okay with it.
See, I think this has been happening. It just wasn't the quarterbacks. There's been plenty of players for the especially the last few years, who have been kicking and screaming to be let out. And I just think it's based on the name and who you are. If you have some juice, then of course the team, you're going to bend over the team whenever you want. Stephon Diggs did it. Antonio Brown did it. Now, of course, those are different. Now, of course, there's different circumstances because those guys were really his locker room different, but look how everything's turning out for them now. I mean, Jamal Adams, it just kind of depends like how all these players are. If you're like all pro, like perennial, very great player, then you pretty much can go or dictate wherever you want. Right now, the 49ers, like, for example, like say it would be, say they sign, I don't know, Fred Warner, and then 2-3 years, he gets pissed off. He's still playing at a high all-pro level and everything sucks for the 49ers. He definitely can go wherever he wants. Now, the 49ers will try their best to try to keep him down, but, at some point, he doesn't want to play for you. What are you going to do? Keep making him be a cancer and wasting all this time on him, and at least you can probably even get him off the book. So I think now the quarterbacks are realizing, like, hey, now why don't we do this? Why don't we? Because they know that they can always get franchise tag. That's a pretty sweet position to franchise that, given the value at this day and age. But yeah, I just think it's just taking advantage of it, and I don't think the 49ers can avoid it right now. Right now they can avoid it. Right now they can avoid it because they don't really have that type of player right now making that much, and everything's still kept together. So so long as everything keeps together, the way all the players kind of like respect Kyle Shanahan, the way like he kind of just levels with them, is transparent with them to a degree, then they'll be straight, even if they're losing, because they were losing last season. And I know a lot of the players, at least Deebo Samuel, thought it was because of injuries, but at least they were still fighting to win. They were still fighting for the coach, for themselves, for each other. So as long as they still keep that core, and like not just the core players, but just keep that culture going, that strongest, then they should be able to avoid this.
I think this is happening. You guys said it. Jack said it. It's the money thing, but it's like, it's not just, they've always been paid a lot of money, but the last 5-6 years, they're getting like basketball contracts. They're getting 40 million, 50 million a year. And that's what basketball players get. And it's like, I understand why basketball players make that much. There's 5 players on the court. If one of them is LeBron James, you're going to go to the playoffs and probably go to the finals. And there's never a situation where LeBron James is on the equivalent of a 4-12 team. Deshaun Watson's really good, but football's different. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't play special teams. There's all kind of starters. And as great as he is, he just went 4-12. It would never happen to LeBron James. Never, ever, right. ever. It's a different sport. So that's why I've been saying, like, for every time pretty much we're on here, that I think these quarterbacks are, yes, they're important, but they're not important like LeBron James. It's different. And once you start paying dudes 40, 45, 50 million, well, they're going to say, well, I want to be the GM. I want input on who, and they probably deserve it because they have the money. So that's why. Can the Niners avoid that trend? Yeah. By not being the next team to spend basketball money on a quarterback. I don't think it's smart. I think I'm fully in favor of the Moneyball approach. And this is just another reason why. Once you're paying a quarterback this much money, it's his team. He does what he wants with it. And you better really trust that he has the right intentions. And like Stephen Curry, that's his team on the Warriors. He knows what to do with it. He doesn't abuse his power. But are you turning your team over to a James Harden guy, or is he going to want out if he doesn't get his way? Or I don't know. You got to really know. And I don't want to give a 25-year-old that kind of power. I just don't think.
Yeah.
I want to do it. Don't want to do it. Even Russell Wilson, the 32-year-old guy who's so reasonable. Now it's his team, and he's like, you know what? I'm out. I want to go to these 4 teams. Like, all right, dude. All right, James. All right, Mr. Harden. Good luck. Yeah. Moneyball approach. Another reason. Just go platoon. You have 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and you just kind of throw them all up the field at once and see who gets the ball first. They compete to who gets the ball under center. You have 4. It's a new formation. 3 guys, hands under the center. It could work. Is there a rule against that? I don't think so.
2013 Northwestern, Trevor Siemian and Kane Coulter. They won like 7.5 games. Do it.
Why not?
I love 2
Why not?
7.5?
7.5 games.
I'd say over, but I was just saying a number.